Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Rumble. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Whoa. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Rumble. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Rumble. Oh my gosh. Now what's wrong? Okay, got testing 1. Man, all kinds of technical difficulties. I was bumped off my live stream both to Rumble and YouTube earlier. So I started up part 2 and all kinds of technical difficulties. I was bumped off my live stream both to Rumble and YouTube earlier. So I started up part 2 and okay, so it's still we're still going on Rumble. Let me check out YouTube real quick. Apologize for that for the people that were listening, that if you come back into this live stream part 2 from titled U.S. Army's 250th birthday, which of course is tomorrow, June 14th. That's from 1775 to, of course, 2025 tomorrow. They're going to have a parade now. The U.S. Army has a website, so if you go check it out, basically set up just for the U.S. Army's 250th birthday celebration. It's at army.mil. Okay, go check it out. It gives the background. You got the same photograph there of George Washington. It looks like crossing the Delaware. I was about to get into the history of it, but I had to do a review real quick of things that are going on. I talked about my first live stream that I started. It went about 21 minutes, and there's about 7 minutes that were cut out. So basically, the first part is very important to listen to if you didn't catch that. First part 1. I didn't, of course, list it as part 1, but I don't know if it's even still out there or not. I think I might have had to delete the live stream. So anyways, okay, you see another picture. It's a more of a close-up of George Washington, I guess. I like my photograph better. So I think I got this from the White House archives or something like that. This actually photograph right here that I have in my avatar. But anyways, really cool photograph. I saw that in the White House. I don't know which room, the painting itself in the White House, and I forgot which room it was in. But I saw there was a conference or something like that in the White House, and I saw that photograph. I mean, the painting itself, very beautiful painting, and basically, yeah, June 14th. Now, a lot of people saying that Donald Trump set up a whole parade just for his birthday and all the money that's being wasted for it and all this stuff. This is a big deal. This goes back to the very foundation of our country. I hate to say this, but if you go out there and you ask, what was D.C. named after? What was D.C. named after? Washington, D.C., you know what I mean? I'm referring to Washington, George Washington. Okay, in 1775, I was going to go into this real quick. Okay, let me bring up my source reference. I have to keep going back to actually view the live stream on either Rumble or YouTube, or I'll get taken down again, right? I'll lose the stream again. So I can't stay on the source references that long, unfortunately. with the devices I have. I won't go into any more specifics other than that. So let me check over on YouTube, make sure we're still, part 2 is live on YouTube. Stand by. See that little avatar blinking, so that means there's audio there. See that little avatar? Yep, we got the beautiful echo there. That means we're good to go. So anyways, yeah, go check out the U.S. Army website. I like to reemphasize that when I was talking about the invasion that occurred during the third term of Biden, right? The third Biden administration, from January 20th of 2021 to January 20th of 2025. Okay, so basically there was open borders, you know, open border society, you know that term, Open Society Institute, those terms, or that organization. I won't go any further. Okay, so think about all the money, all the tax dollars that has gone into this portion of a corrupt government, in my opinion, criminally corrupt government, that are setting up the future for amnesty of probably 20 million or 30 million people that they allowed to come into our country, whether they were known criminals or not. They just allowed them to come in, and basically went down through the history in part 1 before this channel got taken down on both YouTube and Rumble. We went through the history, starting out with Acorn, and the CNN article or information about the voter registration fraud. Thousands and thousands of voter registration were created fraudulently. We went to Organizing for Action. Now, I'm not falsely. These are just allegations, right? Just allegations. Just nothing to see here, folks. But if you go check out the Organizing for Action, uh, and there are 30,000 foot onto. Okay, then you National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Okay, it's an organization, National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Okay, check that out. That's where they need to bring people into these districts, right? To basically, monkey around with stuff. So now they got them all here. They're fighting tooth and nail to keep them here, even the criminals trying to obstruct, law enforcement. And we see this happening, and we know what their ultimate goal is: to take over total control of our government. Total control. Is that a democracy? No, it's tyrannical. Now, they keep on calling, President Trump a dictator or a tyrant, all this stuff. What dictator or tyrant do we know in history actually campaigned on his first campaign for president? He campaigned on giving the power back to the people, back to we the people. How many tyrants or kings or queens did they give all the power to the people in history? I'm talking about history now. So remember George Washington here. Let's go in. It's good to transition to that, right? Now, I talked about also, before I get into the transition into talking about George Washington and his enormous, basically importance in our foundation, our very foundation. I don't think Oh my gosh, dead air time. You see that blue screen on YouTube? That's I had to refresh and reload the entire live stream. I have to watch. This is ridiculous because I'm exposing exactly what these people have done. They're traitors. Literally, they have committed treason for their own personal interests, for their own geopolitical posturing, for their own self-interest. And you think about the ultimate sacrifices that people like George Washington made, the founder of our country, right? If you go around and you ask a lot of people in America, what is DC? What was DC named after? Don't say who, say what was DC named after. Don't give them a hint, right? And say like Washington DC. What was DC named after? There'll probably be some people that don't know which Washington you're talking about, right? George Washington, of course. Oh, Donald Trump. He just wanted to have a parade for his birthday. Just for his birthday. It's sickening. It's really sickening. I mean, we've got a lot to be thankful for the men and women in uniform, especially those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Right? You know, I don't even compare myself to men and women that served like that, even though I served over 20 years myself in retired Air Force. I don't even put myself in that category. We all have to face it. There's a lot of other people out there that are far more capable than us, than some of us. I'm not talking about all of us, but there's a lot of individuals that have, especially in certain areas, they're far more capable than I am. I mean, so anyways, let me try to get over to Rumble real quick to make sure we're still live over there. Yeah, Trapper. Yeah, I lost the live stream, and normally it doesn't happen. Normally when I refresh, it continues. There might be some dead air time for a while, but I went into refresh and restart the part 1 or whatever. I didn't name it part 1, but anyways, I couldn't do it. It took both live streams down to from both YouTube and Rumble, both at the same time. So I have to keep a really, really close eye on this tonight in part 2. So appreciate everybody being here. I looked at a few things. Of course, I talked about in part 1 a little bit about the war between Israel and Iran. Now, listen, people. I mean, we have to use our common sense and put aside our feelings. I don't like war. I don't like war. Okay, I can't speak for everybody else, but there comes a time where you expend all your attempts to basically talk sense in some of these leaders, and they just don't want to listen. They keep on basically, just ignoring you, being just basically rude and disrespect. Who are you to tell us? Who are we to tell them? Remember, this goes all the way back to the Iranian hostage crisis. A lot of these people out there putting out these judgments on Israel, and it's just ridiculous. And how many times have we heard that chant, "Death to America"? Is that the country that a civil society would want to lead them? Death to America, to threaten to wipe Israel off the face of the map, whatever. It's all Israel's fault. It's all Israel's fight that they're fighting for their very survival, right? So they keep on ignoring and ignoring and ignoring. They had like 60 days. 60 days. Time's running out. They were enriching uranium. The IA, I think is let's see, International Atomic Energy Agency. They came out. They basically said that Iran is in violation of their, the International um, Atomic Energy Agency's, basically guidelines or whatever rules. I mean, they were enriching uranium. We could have made a deal. The President Trump administration, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, we could have made a deal with them. Listen, hey, we can provide you if you need that to run your nuclear reactors for the power or the energy for your people. Yeah, we could have stepped in and helped them, right? If that's it. But no, they started their own program, right? They were enriching uranium, going against IAEA regulations, and they just started proceeding on, in my opinion, with building nuclear warheads to fit on their ballistic missiles. Some of those ballistic missiles hit into what do you call that? I forgot the name of that place. It's not Jerusalem, but it used to be the actual capital. But anyways, it struck the seat. They struck civilian, and we understand. Yeah, war. You can't. It's very, very hard to have, a war and not have any innocent people die, and that's the horrors of war. Good to see you, The Search for Truth, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Good to see you here. But anyways, so we have a big problem in the 4 years that the Biden administration had from 2021 to 2025. Okay, because they were just bringing in anybody. They didn't care. They only cared about their own personal interests, posturing for their own personal interests. And what's their ultimate goal? Their ultimate goal is to take total control of our government. That is not a democracy. While they're all out there chanting that Trump is a dictator and a tyrant and all this stuff, who basically promised and campaigned on giving the power back to the people. So if you go back to the, we're talking about the 250th birthday of the United States Army, which basically is tomorrow. I also talked about October 7th of 2023. What was special for Israel on October 7th of 2023? Well, it was a holiday, first of all, and it was also a holy day, a day of rest. Remember, talked about Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2. Since we got taken down the first time, I'll have to reread it because it's very, very important. Our founding fathers basically, the guideline for our morality and our laws came right out of our Bible, our Holy Bible, right out of the Word of God. So I don't care who likes that statement or not. That's the fact. And they should be teaching this in our school. Not to establish, not for the United States to establish a religion, but to basically just to educate the history of our country from its founding on. Okay? So also the government cannot disestablish what's already been established at our very foundation. So they call that precedent, right? Like where they have these, statues of the Ten Commandments, and they're going out there and attacking people like Judge Roy Moore, calling him, certain names regarding underage kids that never gone to court, never been proven in the court of law, right? They just start throwing out those accusations. Wow, my channel's going down again? Wow. They just hit my channel again. That's how they do it. Like, how you pull out, I forgot what they call it in the gaming they'll pull out the internet connection, right? So you can't, never mind. I won't even go there. But anyways, so Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. On the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth, when they were created in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Okay. So God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. It's a very special day for Christians too as well. That's still especially Orthodox Christians. The first church, they didn't break these laws. They didn't break these laws. So also we're talking about how the founders of our country, how they used how they created the judicial system. My God, can't even speak today. But remember, we had Moses and Jethro, his father-in-law. Basically, Moses was judging all matters, both great and small, right? And Jethro basically came up to him one day, or he was observing Moses, what he was doing, trying to juggle all these basically grievances, whatever, and he's supposed to judge each matter, and Jethro came up to him, listen, man, you're just burning yourself out here. Why don't you just give these smaller matters to very capable men and let them be the judge of these, of these hearings, whatever, with these. So like it goes from like 25 for those that have put a capable men, like over 100 people, whatever, and then go down to like 25, and then like 5 or whatever to maybe capable men, but less capable of those that can basically be like Moses. So Moses basically just started judging on greater matters instead of lesser matters. That's how we got the Supreme Court. That's how we got the lower courts. We got the state courts. We got the district courts, whatever, the county courts, whatever. Okay. So anyways, that's how everything was set up. So the seventh day is very important, because the enemy knows that on that day, on October 7th of 2023, that Israel would be down to like skeleton manning. We call that term in the military skeleton manning. We just had bare bones, right? Bare bones manning to cover up, to cover our position, right? And then another thing that we have to realize, that on that day, that they had their troops basically positioned to face what they deemed to be the threat, right? Which was the border of northern Israel, the border of northern Israel, the attacks that come from that direction, not through, Hamas, and so the greater threat was they placed their troops or their law enforcement or that kind of thing. They placed them in, and of course they had their spies too. The enemies had their spies too, right? So they pick and choose whatever they're gonna do. They knew what Israel was gonna do, right? And they knew what day it was. It was not only just a holy day, the Sabbath day, or Shabbat. It was also a holiday. Okay, so I won't go through that all of that in any more detail, but I want people to understand this, that there's a reason why this war is going on, and the justification, whether we believe in that justification or not, we have to recall events that have happened in history. Kidnapping, taking hostage students. Remember what was over 50 students? And then we had to go through the Iranian oil crisis. We had to ration out gas. We had people fighting in the gas lines because they had to get their gas or whatever. I mean, and waiting in these huge long lines and all that, all the problems that, and then a lot of people, a lot of businesses, they went bottoms up, right? They went out of business because that really hurt the seasonal, the seasonal, how in the wintertime in Florida, for example, you have we call them snowbirds. I don't want to be derogatory, but people from up north, they come down and stay. People from Canada, they come down and stay in Florida during the wintertime. Normally, right before Thanksgiving, they'll come here and stay here for a couple of months, and they'll go back up, and they have their vacation homes here, and they spend a lot of money, like going out to restaurants and that kind of thing, going to amusement parks or whatever, you know what I mean? So they provide a lot to our economy in Florida during the season. We call it the season, right? And but anyways, a lot of restaurants basically folded during that time frame. Except for the big chains, they could ride it out. The big chain restaurants and that kind of thing, they could ride it out. But a lot of independent businesses, they went bankrupt, or they had to shut their doors or sell their businesses or whatever. So anyways, I won't go into that much more of the history. Also like to people recall the Beirut bombing, the Beirut barracks bombing, and how many people we lost there. Remember, the Marines were conducting a peacekeeping mission. They wore the blue helmets, right? We call it the blue helmets, right? Going back there, if you read the investigation of those that bombed, it wasn't only the U.S. Marine barracks, but also basically drove that truck bomb into the French barracks too, and the French lost a lot of their military men in that attack as well. Okay, so go back and read the investigation and where they traced that individual to, who basically funded those attacks. Okay, so now you could call these allegations if you will, and you don't have to believe whatever I say. Just go back and look at the history. So I don't have time to do that kind of live stream tonight. But anyways, let me get back on track again. So October 7th, 2023, they basically planned an attack for that day specifically, okay, because it was the Sabbath day and it was also a holiday. So everybody was out there celebrating. The military reduced its manning down to like skeleton manning, and they postured their troops even to the north, to northern Israel. So, anyways, now Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv was the name of the city that Iran just struck, and they took out civilian apartments. Okay, I do know that they took out an IDF headquarters building, but I do believe the IDF, the headquarters, like the higher level officers, they were probably in a secure underground facility somewhere else. But so this is only going to escalate, right? It's only going to escalate. Remember, I think President Trump negotiated with the leaders of Iran at least 6 times, and they gave them like at least 6 times, right? Also, he gave them 60 days. 60 days, basically. Hey, you're going to have to let us know if you're going to allow us to put in inspectors. It kind of reminds me of Saddam Hussein. All he had to do is go, okay, sure, bring in the inspectors. Yeah, I want to work with y'all. I don't want no problem. No problem. So maybe we wouldn't have to go in there either as well. Desert Storm, remember, I don't like war. I don't support war. Remember, I keep on repeating Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Remember, I keep on repeating that scripture over and over and over again. But once they're there, these countries are already there, like Ukraine and Russia, and now Israel and Iran. We got to try to find ways to initiate a ceasefire, okay, and come to the table and listen to people's grievances, right? And you have to be objective. That's the only way, we can get to some common ground where both sides agree to a ceasefire and stop the needless killing or murders, however you want to identify it. But anyway, so let's go to how big a deal tomorrow is for the United States. Okay, so the U.S. Army's 250th birthday, okay, the U.S. Army basically began June 14th, 1775. June 14th, 1775. Okay, of course, District D.C. is named after George Washington. He was born February 22nd, 1732, and passed away December 14th. Looks like 1799. Was a founding father and the first president of the United States, serving from 1789 to 1797. So, what was George Washington basically from 1776 to 1789? Well, from 1775 to basically 1789. As the commander of the Continental Army, Washington led patriot forces to victory in the American Revolutionary War. If you want to know what the grievances are about far as why our founders went to war, our country, basically at that time it wasn't a country, why we went to war against Great Britain, just go to the Declaration of Independence and read the entire Declaration of Independence, and it lists all the grievances. And go in and read it and look at some of the grievances that many of us have right now, as far as a tyrannical government in the past. You know, when you commit treason, you facilitated and directed an invasion into our country, which has caused hundreds of thousands of deaths, right? You knowingly, for your own personal benefit, for geopolitical posturing or whatever, to take total control of our government over, you're a traitor. In my opinion, you're a traitor. These people should have already been held accountable. We already know, we already got insurmountable evidence to the contrary. That's my opinion. These are allegations. We could just call them. Remember, everybody's innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Everybody has a right to due process of law, no matter who it is, no matter which name I bring up. It goes for everyone. One law for one people, right? One law. So go back here. So we can go to Numbers chapter 15, verse 16. One law and one manner shall be for you and for the stranger that sojourneth with you. One law and one manner shall be for you and for the stranger that sojourneth with you. Our supreme law of the land is the U.S. Constitution, period. Cut dry. The United States is supposed to guarantee a Republican form of government and shall ensure against invasion and against domestic violence. What are we seeing pop up all around the world? What do they got planned for tomorrow, which is also a Sabbath, right? You know, the devil likes to do everything the opposite. Bad is good, good is bad now, right? They even say that's bad, you know, AES, you know, whatever. Bad donkey, bad donkey. You know what I mean? It's sick. You know, sick used to be, hey, is that sick? That didn't mean good. Man, you sick? Oh, that's great, man. You're sick? Well, I hope he gets sick some more. That's supposed to be a great thing now, right? Bad is good and good is bad. Word, right? Word. What word are you talking about? Word. A man doesn't make the word. God made the word. You know. So you get what I'm going where I'm coming from? So yeah, Numbers 15, verse 16. One law, one manner of law. If you go to Numbers 15, chapter 15, verse 15, one ordinance shall be for both you of the congregation and also for the stranger that sojourneth with you, an ordinance forever in your generations. As ye are, so shall the stranger be before the Lord. Okay. And the cross references is, okay, verse 29 in chapter 15, verse chapter 9 in Numbers chapter 9, verse 14, and Exodus chapter 12, verse 49. So you go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 49. I guarantee you 99% of Americans don't even know this. This is where our founders got our laws from. Already explained how Jethro and Moses set up our judicial branch of government from the very beginning. That's what the founders used. So, you know, you're supposed to have more capable people, judges, to basically hear greater matters. But what about the one lady that just got basically approved by the Senate? When she's asked what a woman is, she can't even tell you what a woman is. And a lot of them don't even base their opinions on the Constitution at all. They base their opinions on their feelings, you know, or their politics, or their stereotypes, or their their false judgment against other people they don't even know. That's how they're basing their opinions. I don't have time to go through every single ruling that had to be overturned. You know, it's ridiculous. So, anyways, I don't think there's anything else in the Bible I wanted to discuss. So, I think people have the message now. So, anyways, one law, and our law, whether we like it or not, in the United States, the supreme law of the land is the United States Constitution. United States of America Constitution. Now, I won't get into the United States Corporation. I won't get into all that. I'm a little bit educated on that too as well. I won't go in down that rabbit hole. But anyways, so why am I talking about George Washington when we're talking about the 250th birthday of the United States Army? Well, he led our first army. Okay, again, George Washington, born February 22nd, 1732, and passed away. So there's something there for February 11th, 1731. I don't know. I don't need to go through that, but passed away December 14th, 1799, was a founding father and the first president of the United States, serving from 1789 to 1797. As commander of the Continental Army, Washington led Patriot forces to victory in the American Revolutionary War against the British Empire. He is commonly known as the father of the nation for his role in bringing about American independence. And if you want to read the grievances again of our founders that wrote the Declaration of Independence, read the entire Declaration of Independence. Okay? His vice president was John Adams. Great founder too, also, by the way, very capable founder. So anyways, so you hear all these people saying, well, Donald Trump, the dictator, the kings, and they have all these kings, whatever, protest tomorrow on the seventh day, right? I know these people don't care about that, but anyways, and a lot of people go, well, the Lord's Day. No, the Lord's Day. What did our Lord do? And we're talking about King of all kings, right? What did he do on the seventh day? Oh, we don't know what the seventh day is. It's the times have changed and all this stuff. No, they keep meticulous records of the seventh day. Meticulous records. Okay? The scribes do. But anyways, they did, and it continues to this day. Right? So anyways, they call it Saturday. Where does Saturday come from? Saturnalian, right? Okay. We talked about this on Thursday. A lot of people used to call it Thor's Day. Remember the hammer god guy? Remember Sunday, the sun, Sunday, and it's not the S-O-N day, right? It's the S-U-N day for those sun worshipers out there. Remember they had people that worship the moon, Moon Day, Monday. Remember, I won't have to, our schools are not even allowed to teach the meaning of the where the names came from our days of the week, and we chant these things every day. We chant them. I do it myself, but I know what I'm, so people can understand what I'm saying. If I go out there and say, okay, today's the sixth day. The sixth day, I'll talk about the sixth day. A lot of people go, what are you talking about? It's Friday, man. Friday. Okay, so whatever. I just, I don't want to go down that road. So, anyways, yeah, go check out the U.S. Army's 250th birthday celebration. Okay, at army.mil, and check out the what's going on. Okay, I didn't know it's June 14th, 2025, free and open to the public on the National Mall. To reduce wait times, registration is recommended. Okay, they got a picture of George Washington on that site. Our soldiers and civilians are committed to defending our country just as they have the past 250 years. Celebrate the Army's 250th birthday on June 14th. That's a big deal, right? Goes all the way back to our founding. Could you imagine what would happen? We wouldn't even have a country if we didn't have an army, or we couldn't put together an army. They got a history of the army as far as the heroes are concerned. Since its official establishment, June 14, 1775, more than a year before the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Army has played a vital role in the growth and development of the American nation, drawing on both long-standing militia traditions and recently introduced professional standards. It won the new republic's independence in an arduous 8-year struggle against Great Britain. At times, the army provided the lone symbol of the nationhood around which patriots rallied. So let me see here. Arduous, Ardous. So, anyways, older than the nation it defends, the United States Army has made a difference in the history and founding of America. This year, we are celebrating how America's Army has challenged, empowered, and equipped our soldiers, because be all you can be is more than just a slogan. It's the Army way of life. Okay, and it talks about the activities that's going to happen. So this is a really big deal. And, and they brought in all these people, right, to riot, and all these people that are here. So we have to have our head on a swivel for those that are going out there. Now, we had some, basically from the county sheriff where I live, there was a warning about certain things that could happen. And I'm not trying to scare people here, but you definitely have to keep be aware of your surroundings. Try to get situational awareness, and as far as tomorrow goes. But anyways, yeah, thank you, Trapper. I appreciate that. And yeah, I want everybody else to be safe out there. Just, we can't allow to be terrorized, right, from even celebrating the founding of our country and our United States Army, celebrating with them and showing our respect for their sacrifice. So it's a very big deal. So I pray that there isn't any more lives lost in the war between Israel and Iran. I hope. Now, from my understanding, IRGC is broken up. They were hit pretty hard, and after that barrage of cruise missiles that landed in Tel Aviv and killed all those people or whatever, they struck they struck a civilian population. Those wasn't precision strikes like Israel did on the apartments. I mean, those. I have some pictures, and I don't really support the war to begin with. Israel should have just basically complied, and the same regime, they could still be in power or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if the regime's going to be able to stay in power anymore. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. But if the Iranian people stand up and basically and they form their own government by the people, of the people, by the people, for the people, right? I don't think the current leadership is going to be around anymore. So I don't think so. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. So, but anyways, I just wanted to talk about, some of the, like, far as the Sabbath goes, it might not apply for tomorrow, but it's good to know what the Word of God says anyways. And like I said, that's what our founders used to basically create our country, to form our country. So, was there anything I'm missing? Yeah, okay. So Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, full justification for this current leadership, the Attorney General, the President of the United States, basically putting together prosecution for those that directed and facilitated invasion into our country. That's not all. We haven't seen all of that yet. What the results of that, what they have done, because there's so many people that are out there living in the shadows that are here unlawfully. They're not here lawfully. They didn't follow our immigration laws. Remember, one law for one people. Whether you're a foreigner, whatever, migrant, wherever you identify yourself, it doesn't matter. We have one law. We have one immigration law. We don't have a different immigration law anytime the wind blows a different direction. So that's the primary job of the President of the United States, to keep us safe. As in Article 4, Section 4, the United States shall guarantee to each state in this union a Republican form of government and ensure against invasion and against domestic violence. It doesn't say in the Constitution to ensure for an invasion and ensure for domestic violence whenever you feel like it or whenever your feelings are hurt. It's not the way to go about things. And basically, I know certain states, they're not going to tolerate any of this stuff. So even though we have, better support and with our governor here in Florida and our law enforcement to help keep us all safe, we still have to be maintain constant vigilance. I'll use a term that Bill Clinton used: constant vigilance, right? We have to keep situational awareness. So, and we're going to have a lot of resources, Army resources in that parade tomorrow. But I hope everybody can enjoy themselves. We've been having a lot of rain, heavy rain, downpours here the last 3 or 4 days in Florida, at least where I'm at. I got caught in the downpour going down Interstate 75 Wednesday, was it? I believe it was Wednesday, all the way from Ocala on I-75 all the way to Tampa. A lot of times, only the fastest I could drive on the interstate Interstate 75, which is pretty much 70 miles an hour all the way, right? We were driving 30 miles an hour with our warning flashers on so people can see, because the visibility was horrible. I mean, I had my windshield wipers going on full blast, whatever, back and forth, and it was still hard to see because the downpour was so hard. But anyways, we needed the rain, thank God. So for the rain, it's definitely a blessing. And so, anyways, let me go back over to YouTube. I haven't even been looking at YouTube. Well, they almost got preempted second go around. Let me see. Are we still even live on YouTube? It says live. Let me get a volume check here. Test 1, 2. It says live. Yep. Well, what do you know? So let me go. There was one other thing. I was talking about the justification to hold these people accountable. They could be arrested right now, especially individuals, in my opinion, like Mayorkas. He definitely helped facilitate and direct the invasion into our country, which has caused thousands, hundreds of thousands of deaths. If you just think fentanyl alone, that's the reason why I hate to use fentanyl alone, but, far as in lieu of time, whatever, because I think the most amount of people that died. I don't know how many Americans were lost in World War II, but I know about 300,000 people died between 2021 to 2024 with fentanyl alone. Men, women, and children, right? And some people were taking like pills that were spiked with it, or, adding it to other drugs that they take, whatever. I won't go into all that. I'm not judgmental as far as that, but people know the law and they should follow it. That's all I got to say. I mean, golly, value your freedom. Why would you even jeopardize your freedom? That's why I always ask, why would anyone jeopardize their freedom? I don't think the food in these prisons are, kind of like gourmet meals that you're going to be eating in prison. Could you imagine? Man, I thank God for our freedom. I really thank God. And please, dear God, put a hedge of protection around us and all of our men and women out there and children tomorrow that may be going to the parade and watching, the army, the army show, whatever, and all the activities. And I hope everybody has a great time. But still be not doing a favor to think about the wars that are going on while we are basically enjoying the festival of festivities, I should say, right? So let's go to the source references again and go through them real quick. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to mention this. IRGC plane basically took off out of Tehran, I believe it was, and I hope we got a good tracking of where those individuals went. Okay, so remember people coming across our border. Remember we talk about cells, and that kind of thing. So I hope they tracked those individuals, whoever they may be, make sure they're not up to anything. Use your imagination. As far as I'll go. Remember, prayers do work. Okay. Okay, I want to read this again. Far as rioting goes, riots, this is riots legal aspects. Okay, the Federal Riot Act. Okay, just go check that out. It's law.j rank one word .org. Okay, go check this out. Riots legal aspects, the Federal Riot Act. On April 10th, 1968, Congress enacted the Riot Act of 1868, 18 USC 2101, 2102, which made it a federal crime to use any facility of interstate commerce to incite or participate in a riot. The Federal Act thus focuses on the individual who crosses a state line for the purpose of creating public disorder, funding riots interstate, crossing interstate lines, right? To basically start riots and violence, whatever, assaults on law enforcement officials, whatever they want to do, like the Summer of Love, you know what I mean? Wasn't much love there, was there? One of the underlying assumptions was that outside agitators play a role in causing modern urban disturbances. The act provides whoever travels in interstate or foreign commerce or uses any facility or of interstate or foreign commerce, including but not limited to the mail, telegraph, telephone, radio, or television with intent to incite a riot, that's Section A, or to organize, promote, encourage, participate in, or carry on a riot, or C, to commit any act of violence in furtherance of a riot, or like trucking in on semis, bricks, especially bricks that's got two holes on the top. I saw one of those tractor trailers. I went by one that had pallets of bricks, and these are special types of bricks, like kind of like in a way, not like a brick, but a cinder block. The cinder block has two holes in it, and you hit it with a hammer and break it down to smaller stones, whatever, so you can throw them further, whatever. But these are regular like bricks, like red brick. They're more like a dark brownish, maroonish red brick. Okay, they got two holes in them. So what? If they aren't big enough to throw a whole brick, right? They can get their hammer and bust them up into three pieces or whatever, right? Bust it up into three pieces to have three smaller like bricks, portions of the brick that toss. And I watched that whole pallet. And now remember tomorrow where all these people going to be scattered out to be. Okay? They're riding for, there are basically, this is like a color revolution. And what I talk about, okay, D, and to aid or abet any person inciting or participating in or carrying on a riot or committing any act of violence in the furtherance of a riot, and who either during the course of any such travel or use or thereafter performs or attempts to perform any other overt act for any purpose specified in subparagraph A, B, C, or D of this paragraph, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. There's the justification. We have the justification in the U.S. Constitution far as those that facilitated and directed an invasion into our country, those who are safe harboring, providing sanctuary states and city. All these people can be arrested. but they don't want an uncivil war. And they know they have boots on the ground. They've already set it up. The act treats those who attempt to commit the offense as well as aiders and abettors as principals. Neither presents at a riot, neither presence at a riot nor imminent threat or harm is required. A National Mobilization Committee to End War in Vietnam versus form in the United States, whatever. I don't have to read the whole thing, right? The constitutionality of the act has been upheld on the ground that the First Amendment does not protect rioting or incitement to riot, right? And what are a lot of these lawmakers? They're actually going out there to help incite the riots by their wordage, so just check this out, okay? Again, the source references from law.jrank.org, riots, legal aspects of the Federal Riot Act. It goes on and discusses the Riot Act of 1968, 18 U.S.C. 2101 and 2102. So now what was the other one I wanted to reference real quick? This is very important. Now we talked about the color revolution. Go check this one out. Okay. This is Amuse. Norm Eisen's they call it, okay, Norm Eisen's perfectly legal color revolution against Trump. Perfectly legal color revolution to overthrow the sitting president. That's like an oxymoron, right? Okay, this is by Amuse, June 06, 2025. Now, Norm Eisen has already said he's pretty certain that the president of the United States, Donald Trump, is going to be ejected out of office. He started the lawfare. He basically formulated over 250, I think, over 200 lawsuits against Trump and the Trump administration, right? Over 200 before Donald Trump even got in office. The very first day at 12:01 p.m., when Donald Trump swore in on January 20th of 2025, he had a person waiting at Trump Hotel to issue an official complaint. The GSA people. Already. That's malicious prosecution. It's proven. The guy went out there and bragged about it. And just because they use a term like eject, or somebody uses some seashell formation and puts that out there, they know what they're talking about. We all know what they're talking about. This guy acts like he's some type of damn hero or something. Was there a coup? Wait, hold on a second. Was there a coup? That question, when asked in the context of American politics, invites ridicule from respectable quarters. Yet when the subject turns to foreign regimes, that same question is treated with analytical seriousness. Political scientists pore over cases from Georgia to Ukraine, from Venezuela to Egypt, cataloging the hallmarks of so-called color revolutions, soft regime change efforts executed through legal media and civic leaders rather than the military ones. Oddly, however, the moment one notices similar tactics deployed on American soil, the the conversation ends. Well, okay, I won't read this whole thing, right? Norm Eisen, we're talking about, his lawfare against Trump has not abated with a ballot box, but has intensified since Trump's return to the White House, making clear that Eisen's goal is not just to win elections, but to delegitimize and destroy Trump through extra electoral means. Eisen co-authored the Democracy Playbook, a Brookings Institute manual ostensibly intended to help civil society resist authoritarian backsliding abroad. Yet its most striking application occurred at home. The tactics recommended in the playbook: mass mobilization, narrative framing, elite consensus building, and legal contestation were repurposed to target a sitting U.S. president. The irony would be comic if it weren't so grave. I won't go in and read the entire article, but again, this is from Muse onx.substack.com. So this is again, the title of this article is Norm Eisen's perfectly legal color revolution against Trump. There's nothing perfectly legal about it. That's an oxymoron. And Norm Eisen is he is a moron in my opinion. Let's look up the term moron, okay? Norm Eisen should be there, but I'll read to be fair and honest, right? Moron, a stupid person, a person having low intelligence or intellectual disability. You know, the person, when he goes out there and telegraphs what he's doing, that's not very smart. Because he has already put together a broader criminal conspiracy to try to overthrow President Trump again. Okay, so anyways, I thought I'd like to point those things out. This is what's going on in our country. And you think about the lawfare that the government, all the money, all the tax dollars, again, wasted for these corrupt people. It's unbelievable. So anyways, remember again, we talked about this multiple times on the channel. We do have the majority. We have the majority. They can narrow in their cameras and lenses all they want to and basically try to make look like they got the majority. No, they don't. They don't have anywhere near the majority. And once the people are informed, and once the people get informed, hopefully they start being informed properly with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. And if we make mistake, to be fair, we make mistake, we have to go out there and make the necessary corrections. Okay, so they want to basically, their goal is for amnesty. Amnesty. And I was talking about this the other day. Comprehensive immigration reform. Comprehensive immigration reform. You know who said that? That we should have comprehensive immigration reform? You know who made that statement? In part of her press conference? The president of Mexico. And she had Democrats sitting there in the front row in the audience. People from our country going over there, right? And she's interfering in how we how we conduct our law enforcement. We have U.S. immigration laws we have to follow. They're already on the books. All we have to do is follow our law enforcement, border patrol. All we have to do is follow the immigration laws that are already on the books. That's all we have to do. That's what we're trying to do now under the President Trump administration. So we have all the justification that we need to keep our people safe, to keep our country a sovereign, free country, right? So we got a Mexican president. I mean, she seems to be a likable lady, but she can't be dictating what we do as far as our laws. She's actually calling for comprehensive immigration reform. That's like, you might as well say amnesty. So they could take over total power of our government. And the people is that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people? No, it's a tyrannical ideology. They want to overthrow everything. They want to dismantle our history. I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't started burning our history books, or they pretty much already rewrote them, right? It's been a long time since I've been in school. So remember, we have, as far as something positive, think about this. It was only a third of the angels working, the rebellious angels with Satan, that was cast out of heaven, right? The overall, we got the popular majority. And once we have free and fair elections, and those are ensure we have free and fair election and taking the measures to secure our elections, they won't have a chance. And we take these people out, and they came in here illegally, send them back home. Or they could go back home themselves and come back in later at the right time through the legal ports of entry. Follow our laws. I guarantee you get a lot further along if you follow our laws. Why would you come here and even risk your own freedom? We just read, we read some of the punishments for people that come here illegally, but I'm not going to go through it all again. So remember, just stay on the right team. Team one, if you want to understand team spirit, John chapter 17. Check it out. We are one, right? One law. John chapter 17. We are one. We're on the same team. We have the majority. Okay, with that said, good evening, good day, good morning, wherever you're from. This concludes the live stream. And remember, in God we trust, everyone else trust but verify. Thank you.